Okay.
It'll take a second, but it may even go live before we start. So anybody who's listening, hello. Can't make it up. All right, so we are live. Hello, everybody. It's Ted Bogert again with the Ted Show. Very, very excited to have Brandi. Hold on. Markiewicz.
Yes, you got it.
I
Great
did
job.
it. And we are live. So bear with me. I've got to show my face in a second. And then we will share. There you go. Here you guys are. What's happening, everybody? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's good. So I'm going to keep an eye, Brandi, so you know, on the comments as much as I can.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. All right. So thanks. See, that's the little weird part about going live from Zoom is I have to look at stuff for a minute. And then I always feel bad. I don't want anybody to think I'm ignoring you or not making eye contact with you. So thank you so much for being on the show. I love this topic, servant leadership. I don't think there could be a bigger, better time for that. It's on everybody's mind, and if it isn't, it should be. So welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you. Well, I'm super excited to be on this, and I have to say, I followed you for a while and known about you for a while, but I am part of a group of women. We did Rachel Hollis live together down in West Palm Beach, which apparently is a huge fan crowd of yours. And at one of our kind of accountability groups who brought this up. And I said, y'all, Ted reached out to me, and I know I'm just me, I'm nothing special, and I don't know if I should get on this. And they were all like, do it, you have to do it.
You are special.
Yeah, well, thank you. But it was so nice to hear so much positive reinforcement, and I was on the ledge and they shoved me right over. And so thank you for giving me a platform to come on here and talk about what we're doing.
Thanks for taking the risk. It's, you know, it can be a risk. It's very, I know it's nerve-wracking because you think live.
Yeah.
And we really do have an audience, but in this particular moment, because you can't see anything, it's just me and you. And I'm trying to keep an eye on the comments, but normally it's really just us having a conversation. So thank you for trusting me enough to take a risk and hop on the show. All right, so tell us about you.
So a little bit about me. I just turned 40 this year. I live in College Park, Orlando, and I'm a native Floridian, born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida. I went to school at Florida State. My parents still live in Tallahassee. Wow. And majored in interior design. And actually met my husband. We went to high school together. We've known each other for a long time and kind of bounced around for a minute. Tallahassee, graduated, lived in Atlanta for a year, came back. I graduated in spring of 2002. So interesting enough, it was in the middle of kind of after 9/11 had happened. So not a great time to enter the workforce as an interior designer.
Were you doing interior design? Okay.
Yeah, so I started out, I had an incredible job in Tallahassee as a residential designer. And when I moved up to Atlanta, it was very hard to find a job. So I did model home design for a little bit. And my husband and I were engaged at the time. And I was like, please take me home. I want to go home. I just want to go back home. Which is funny because we moved back home. I went back to the firm that I loved. We got married and we were like, oh, we hate Tallahassee. And we actually love Tallahassee. We just don't want to live in Tallahassee.
Understood.
Yeah, so we moved to Jacksonville. We lived there for 9 years, had both of our sons, and that's really where my career took off. So started again in residential interior design, shifted into commercial interior design, and then in 2008 I went into sales, which was an interesting time because that was the time of the Great Recession. But thankfully, making good decisions on the company that I went with, it was an incredible opportunity to start learning about
what kind of sales is it, or was it?
It was wall covering. So wall covering and textiles. So again, it kind of feeds into my interior design background. All my interior designer friends now were my clients. And so it was interesting because now as a salesperson, I understood their language or what their needs were and how to service them.
Love it. All right. So what happened next? Because first of all, are those drums in the background?
They are.
So I love that. We have to,
this is
hear that
authentic
story.
Me. I live in a little bungalow in College Park. I do not have a private office. My children are doing their virtual learning in bedrooms. And I'm like, please don't talk right now and stay away from the
The drums. I was hoping a drum solo. That was what I was thinking.
Well, upon request, that could absolutely happen. My husband played drums, so I think it was probably his long desire for one of our children to play drums. Which, funny enough, my oldest is very musically talented. He plays the tuba, and my youngest definitely has sick beats, man. So he is.
I have no rhythm whatsoever.
I don't either. They didn't get it from me. I'm artistic, not music.
All right, so what are you doing now? Tell us.
Okay, so to give a quick hop. So when I left wall covering sales after my second son was tired of traveling, I had this incredible opportunity that came to me through a lot of people with a company called CI Group, who is actually where I'm at right now. So in Jacksonville in 2012, I started working for CI Group as like an A&D new business development person, little sales, but just trying to help get this little tiny company off the ground. I think it was their third or fourth location at that time. My husband has been in retail management for over 20 years now and said, hey, we have to move to Orlando. And I said, there's no way. There's no way. I'm not moving to Orlando. I will never live in Orlando. There's no way. So needless to say, we moved to Orlando, College Park, and now you couldn't drag my cold dead body out of College Park. Love Orlando.
What was your hesitation?
My hesitation. So as a native Floridian, I only thought of Orlando as tons of tourists, Disney, I-4, count me out. And we don't deal with any of that.
You don't have that up there.
Not at all. So we're never on I-4. College Park is like the tiniest little community. We have never had, it's like a modern day Mayberry, I feel like. We walk down the street to lakes. We, bike around the neighborhood. We have tons of friends.
I live near College Park, and one of the things I love to do is go in and eat.
Yes. We have the best, we never leave. We live in this little bubble. So I feel like when we leave the bubble, we're going somewhere far. It's more of a destination to go anywhere. And now we're super spoiled. I remember someone said something like, oh, there's something over by Millennia. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go that far. And they're like, Brandi, it's 7 miles. So I've definitely been spoiled by the bubble. So when I moved here,
I think that's how people feel. No, I was just going to say, I think people feel that way when they're coming from like Lake Mary. Like my Lake Mary friends don't want to come any further than Lake Winter Park. Right. Winter Park friends might come down, maybe. And then all of us are downtown people. We don't like to go anywhere.
Right.
We like our little bubble.
It's true. It's very true.
So Beth Hobart just sent you a ton of love.
She's the best. She's the absolute best. So when I moved here, I had to leave CI Group because CI Group wasn't here. So I joined a major manufacturer called Knoll, and they are a legacy design house known for their stuff all over the world. And for me, with an interior design background, it was felt like a swan song situation. I had this unfortunate task of having to move my family to Orlando, which turned out to be a blessing. I got hired by Knoll, which turned out to be a blessing. And from there, our life really flourished. And it wasn't until about almost 3 years ago now, I got reapproached by my business partner to open up Orlando. And it was so funny, I'll never forget this. And we had lunch and Drew's like, hey, we're coming to Orlando. And I laughed. I'm like, you're not coming to Orlando. You've said it 100 times. You never come to Orlando. He's like, no, we're really doing it now. And I'm very competitive. So I said, you're not coming because I'm not going to let you take any of the business. So you're going to fail and you shouldn't come. And he was like, well, that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. We'd like for you to come and be our partner and lead the charge. And, children taught me 2 things: to never say never and to think before you speak. And I didn't do any of those things. And I think 1, because he was a friend, and 2, I was so shocked. Like, are you crazy? I love my job. This is insane. Came home, laughed about it. And literally a week later, I was sitting on the sofa and I looked at my husband and I was like, what if? And I started listing things out and he was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're thinking about it. And I was like, well, how do I not? So I went from having this incredible job to getting to meet so many people and travel a lot to business ownership. And it was an incredible opportunity that I felt like this could be a once in a lifetime. Like, who knows what would happen and how can I not afford to take the plunge and do this. So now I'm managing partner. I do feel like I'm back at home. My very best friend that we actually worked together in Jacksonville now lives in Tampa as VP of Culture and Design. So I feel like I stepped right back into what I already loved so much. So it was just an incredible opportunity.
And so tell them what CI does. What are you doing? And then I want to jump to servant leadership.
Okay, great. So CI Group is a commercial furniture dealership, and we specialize in workplace consulting. We really help clients understand, what are your drivers? What are your desires? What keeps you up at night? How can we be a partner? We're not looking to be necessarily transactional on selling a task chair or a desk or a file. We want to build long-lasting relationships because we believe relationship building is our differentiator. We care about our clients, we care about our friends in the community, and we care about their success, and we want to aid in their success. So we help provide holistic solutions for anybody's workplace environment, and that includes higher ed, healthcare, legal, financial, tech, you name it, any vertical market. We are solution providers.
I did not know that. I knew that you had an eye for, you had a little bit of a background because I don't do much research, right? I knew that you were talented on the interior design level. And when I saw your email, I go, God, I wonder what CI is. And I stopped myself. I'm like, I'm going to have her explain it because I didn't know, but that's really cool. So you work with, what's the size of the business you work with?
So we work with all different modes. So Orlando's the newest office. We're location number 7, but our biggest operation is actually headquarters, which is in Tampa, St. Pete area. So we service clients with national accounts. So we do multi-million-dollar clients that have $6 to $8 million book of business, and we do help clients with $25,000 book of business. So it ranges in scale. I think as a newer dealership here in Orlando, our biggest challenge is going against people who have been here and have long relationships. And so we're here to kind of look at it a little differently, do something different, and help come up with creative solutions to these challenges to build our book of business. So I would say we're completely flexible and limber here in Orlando of what that looks like.
I love it. So let me ask you, one of my favorite things to do is to ask my guests to kind of come up with their own show title, or at least an idea of it. Most of them are scared of coming up with their own show title, but you gave me 3 or maybe 4, and servant leadership was on there. So I love this topic. I told you before we went live. So talk about that. What does that actually mean? Why did that even come up? And then what does that mean to you? What is servant leadership? Define it for us.
Okay, so I love this topic. It's really near and dear to my heart. And I look at this when I have the opportunity. I've worked with so many different people and so many different organizations, not directly, but kind of in tandem. And I've seen a lot of things that work, and I've seen a lot of things that don't work. And I think the most important lesson that I've learned in this whole journey of watching others fail, which is very normal, we all fail. I think failing is healthy. It's continuing to rise is the most important thing. But realizing I am nothing without my people. So I can be the head of this and I can be the face of this, and this could be, my baby on a degree, but I feel like it's incredibly imperative that I empower my people to feel like this is just as much their business as it is mine. If they don't work, I don't work. It's creating trust and power and being vulnerable and leaning into difficult conversations and being your authentic self. So I think I
love it.
That's
Let me ask you, how do you do it? So it all sounds good, right? And I'm a believer, and I know for a fact that you actually practice that. But tell people out there who are saying, all right, well, that sounds really good, Brandi, but how do you actually lean in? How do you allow yourself to be vulnerable as the leader? How do you do that and still run your company? Because there's boundaries people are probably going to ask about. And how do you set that up? I know it's not as easy as it may seem. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I would say, a course of reading. So I love research. I love learning more. Brene Brown and Simon Sinek are two enormous champion passions of my heart. I love anything they have to say. I've read almost all of their books or watched them online. And I would say my learning and teaching has come from examples of people that I've worked with and also from these two people. So I would highly encourage people to go on and research more about them and what they do. But I think one of the things it's interesting that I struggle with is boundaries. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And how do you set boundaries? And I struggle with that because I also am a firm believer in authenticity. And I struggle when I can't be myself. And in setting this role up, I might struggle with, am I too authentic with my people? I mean, they see me for me, that, you know, we have happy hours. I like to use colorful language. And what I've had to learn is to stop apologizing for things, but be respectful of people, of course, but to stop apologizing for things and knowing that I am leading wholeheartedly with the best of intentions and trying to empower other people to do great things.
I love it. So what do you do to empower? Because right now we're living in a crazy world, right? So there's no face-to-face meetings, really. There's none of that. How are you keeping positive? And then how are you empowering? How are you manifesting that servant leadership when we're all challenged with the physical restrictions that we're having to deal with right now?
Right. So I believe trust is one of the most important things to have. You have to be able to trust people, and to have their cooperation, you have to show it. So you can't just say it, you have to show it. And so thankfully enough, my first new hire just had her 1-year anniversary, half of a month and a half ago. And my second new hire, April 1st, is her 1-year anniversary. So I'd like to believe that we've had enough time together for us to exhibit it. So one of my favorite parts of CI Group is they've invested a lot into creating a company culture and establishing their core values and establishing their vision and mission of who they are. And those things run so in line with my heart and what I believe. So it comes from the top down. So my business partners empower me to say, this is your baby. We trust you to do the right thing for this. And I essentially pass that down to them. So my goal is to give them all the tools they need. What are the barriers? How can I help you break down your barriers? How can I support you? How can I uplift you? And I fully trust you to take things and run. I don't have to micromanage people. I don't have to double check everything as it goes out. I'm looped in on a lot because I think the most part, the team, I like knowing what's happening. And I think they want to hear my feedback because I've done this for, for a little while now, but I'm not having to say, did you follow up? Did you do this? Because in creating the foundation of who we are, being authentic and creating this form of trust, I believe that they know, I believe that sometimes before they do things, and I should ask them this, that they say, what would Brandi say? Or what would Brandi do? Because I know come back in the office and they're like, oh, we have this one thing to show you. I think you're going to hate it. And I'm like, oh no, wait, what? And they open it up and I love it. But I like that they're taking that into consideration. And we've created this thing. And I hope by me saying, I love it, it's great, that they feel more empowered to we've built this trust. And I know that they're going to act on the good of the whole. And it's just imperative to our success to have that. And so I've worked really hard to create a safe environment because I believe there's so many outside things, and especially right now, this COVID stuff is just insane. But as long as I can create this safe environment for my people, to where they don't feel like they're fighting one another, there's no backstabbing, or there's not a meeting behind the meeting. We're having these open dialogues, and sometimes they're hard. Not generally, because my team is amazing, but we've had to have a few hard conversations, and they're honest, it's to the point, you push through pain, and we're all better for it. And it makes us stronger to combat the outside forces that are outside of our circle, because we're stronger together and we know we have each other's back.
So let me ask you, because what I'm hearing you saying is awesome. but you're creating, you're doing, you're setting the environment, you're helping create it. What are you doing so that your internal resources are not depleted? Brandi doesn't become depleted, because I know, as a person who practices what you're talking about, if you continue to just give, and you don't take care of you, that you become less effective. It can be a challenge. So what are you doing during all of this time to make sure that you're staying positive and you keep focused on Brandi so you can do all the good things?
I love that you asked that. So I have an incredible support group of friends here. It's my favorite thing in the world right now. So I feel like at the end of last year, the end of 2019, one of my dearest friends, Jen Lastic, was like, you have to listen to this Rachel Hollis podcast. And it was all about calendar auditing, and that I can do a whole separate topic on calendar auditing. But what I did was I kind of went through to look at, like, what are things that make me thrive and what things are sucking me dry? Because I realize when I say yes, and I'm a people pleaser and I struggle a lot, because I love to say yes. I want everyone to, in general, I want everyone happy. I want people to, it feels good to be wanted and necessary. But when I say yes, so one of the things we've been talking about heavy in the office, if I say yes to this, I'm saying no to something else. If I say yes to a happy hour with a client, I'm saying no to my family. I'm saying no to calling my mom, or I'm saying no to my coworkers for something. So a yes is a no. And so I've had to start weighing these things out. So in the process, inspire me, people who
Well, it looks a little frozen, Brandi, so hold off. Let's see what's happening. It's still live. You keep talking if you can hear me. And folks, welcome to the technology world. You look frozen on Facebook as well, so I don't know if you've been disconnected, but I'm going to give it a second. All of you guys who are patient out there, you know, it's going from one platform to the next, and she is out. There she is.
Sorry.
See, no. I kept going. I was like, all right, well, she'll come back or she won't. Here we go.
Yeah,
right,
so it's surrounding myself by people who believe in the better. And, you know, we constantly are talking about how are we taking care of ourselves. So it's hard because, you know, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a business owner, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. But I do try and find those moments to recharge and give time to myself so that I can give more to others. I'm very much struggling with that. I preach it. It's harder to do it. But this is where, you know, my team of friends kind of rise and challenge me and remind me and keep me accountable to the things like, you said you were going to do this for you. And I'm like, oh yeah, you put it back and make myself a priority to fill my internal cup so that I can be fueled and keep going.
You have to, right? So one of the things I posted this morning, it really ticked me off, and it kind of goes along with your theme. A lot of people last week said, how can you, you can't save everybody, you can't help everybody. Because I'm like you, like I'm a people pleaser, I want everybody to be happy. And I just feel like I still, as long as I'm still taking those moments to recharge, I'm going to do everything that I can to continue to create those opportunities, to continue to create the environment, the safe place, continue to be optimistic for my friends and my partners. I just think it's so important. So as long as it's not easy, though, that's what I wanted to point out. You said it, and I agree. It doesn't mean that it's easy. I'm still working on my phone at night when Stacy's watching Netflix after she's worked 10 or 12 hours, and I can't put it down, but I need to. Yesterday, over the weekend, I was in the pool, and I took one day and did no phone. I put my phone purposely away, and that was enough to get me recharged. But you have to do it. It's not easy. It's just not easy.
I agree.
All right, you have been.
You love what you do too, though, Ted.
Well,
like
you do, right?
You love what you do. You love what you do. I love what I do, and I think that makes it even harder. But you have to force it.
And I think people they're like, when do you have downtime? Well, I have wonderful flexibility with my company. And so sometimes my downtime is during the normal work day, because a lot of my people want to respond after work. And so you just have to figure out what works for you. And I think that that's what you're talking about. But I'm so glad that you pointed out, it doesn't mean, guys, that it's an easy thing. You really have to be purposeful and intentional about it and take that break, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes. Put your phone down. Look, I'm guilty. I'm attached to it, I swear. But you have to do it, or you aren't going to be as productive and as good for the people that you're trying to help and please. All right, you've been a phenomenal joy. See, it wasn't that hard, right? Not pulling teeth.
Easy.
It was so easy. You're a joy to be around. I love your energy. I thank you for sharing. If you guys want to get in touch with Brandi, I've tagged her. Reach out to her. She's obviously going to be open. She's got a great presence, and she is willing to share. That's the part that I can feel from what you're doing. So thank you for being a true servant leader and for taking a risk and hopping on the show with me.
Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We love you guys. We'll be back soon. Thank you, Brandi. Brandi Markiewicz. See you guys later. Markiewicz. See, I always mess it up at the end. All right. I love you guys. We'll see you later. Have a good one.
Bye.